And welcome back to another live video, our second one today. You got Jory earlier talking about some of the sales we have going on, and more bikes disappeared after that. So thank you to everyone who stopped by. For anyone who's asking about some of those bike deals we had going on, the Saunders XS sold, the Swift demo bike sold, the Saunders Mad Mods sold, the two Bronco bikes, one of them is sold, so I still have one of those left. If you have a question about a specific bike, just ask away. Just know that most of those really good deals do go fast. So if you ever see something like that, make sure to snag it quickly. Now, what we're here for today, because Jory already talked about all of the sales stuff, is trikes. In particular, this one, the Conductor model from Oh Wow Cycles. So yes, you heard that right. Their name is Oh Wow. Got to meet the owner of the company several weeks back. He dropped off the trike in person. We had a good chat. I think we'll have him as a guest on the podcast here soon. But funny guy, really interesting story about how he got into e-bikes in the first place. So watch out for that podcast episode when we make that happen. Hasn't happened quite yet, but it will. I'm sure it will. But yeah, I had to bring out also the Galaxy trike, because this is the only trike model we have sold to date. And I thought it was fitting that we do a comparison between the two, because I think there's some things you're going to like about this one. I see we've already got some comments in the chat. Steve says, looks awesome. Thank you, Steve. George, holy cow, is that the bike we were trying to get Dad? I have no idea. Maybe. Margaret says, cool looking bike. Linda, clapping, happy face, awesome. Let's see. Thank you, everybody. Yes, that was a few minutes before we started. John, yes, you probably could sell a ton of these in Florida. Very popular in nice flat areas with the demographics there. George, do you have it in stock and are you open tomorrow, Saturday? We are going to be here, or someone will be here. I'll have a couple of guys here tomorrow because we have a lot of people picking up some of those bikes that they purchased throughout this week from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you want to come tomorrow for test rides, yes, will be here, but only from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. A little bit shorter day. As the days get longer, the weather gets warmer. Of course, we'll be opening those hours up a little bit more. We do not have this particular bike in stock, except I do have this particular one for demo purposes, which the lead time on more bikes should be pretty short. So if you want to come test ride it, feel free to swing on by. It will be here. Paul says my wife needs this. George, how much can I pick the bike up tomorrow, at least test? Yes, you can definitely test it, and I'll have to talk to the guys over at Oh Wow Cycles to see if they're willing to let this specific one go, because he dropped it off as a demo, but it is basically brand new. We've only ridden it here at the shop. But let me show you a little bit more about it. Let's jump right into it. And I'm going to start by showing you the Galaxy and explaining the whole time we've sold the Galaxy, the last couple of years, there are 2 or 3 things that people ask for all the time. And let me show you what they are. Or maybe you guys can take a guess. What do you think people ask for when they look at this trike? It folds, which not that many people fold it, but it does fold. The Conductor model specifically does not, but they have another one that does that's very similar to this. We've got a basket on the back. It's a 500-watt motor on the front. Rigid fork, not a suspension fork. Does come with the front and rear baskets you see right here. 20-inch tires all the way around. Mechanical disc brakes. Black and white display up on the handlebars. 48-volt battery. So that's the Galaxy. Been very popular. We sell them pretty consistently. In fact, right before this live review started, a couple more trikes showed up. So if somebody's interested in a Galaxy trike, I definitely have those brand new in the box just showed up. I don't think all of those are sold that just arrived, but I haven't checked the website in the last like few minutes either. So that can change very, very quickly. So just be aware of that. So I'm curious, what are your guesses? What would you want different on this specific trike? Let's see if there's some guesses here. Dennis Maddox, nice looking trike. Shout out to Mark and the rest of the crew that worked on my Warthog MD1000. Very happy with the results. And thank you, Dennis, for being very patient waiting for parts so we could fix it. I know you had to wait a while to get that taken care of, but I'm glad the bike is working great now and back in your hands. Robert, sharing in an over 60 group. Let's talk trike. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So no guesses yet. Feel free to guess. Here's what we hear. One, it's a 500 watt motor. People always ask, will you make it in a 750? And the answer has always been no, for a couple of reasons. One is this is a 20-inch tire up front. And if you try and put a 750 watt motor in a 20-inch tire, it's just too much torque. It will just spin the tire. If you put a 750 watt motor, a real 750 watt motor in the back of like a 20-inch little bike, it'll pull wheelies all the time. It's crazy. I've done it before, but for production, it's a little bit too wild. But that's one of the requests. People say, oh, it's 500 watts. Like, that's good, but I want a little more oomph. Second thing that people ask for is a suspension fork, which this does not have. So those are two really big ones. So let's swing over to the conductor. And so Ash, the owner from Oh Wow, reached out to me and said, hey, I've got these. Are you interested? It was actually a customer of his that tried to get us in touch at first. But once we started talking, we looked at the trike. I said, well, it's got a 750 watt motor up front, which is something people have been asking for. It's got a suspension fork, which people have been asking for. So based on those two things alone, yeah, let's check it out. Let's see how the trike handles. Now, those are not the only two differences between the trikes here. I think to really get a good comprehension or understanding or grasp of the other difference, which is the width of the trikes, I got to put these two side by side. So let me grab this one. We're going to move it over this way so you can see it well. I think right about there should work. And let me grab the Galaxy. And we're going to park them right next to each other. And hopefully this works. What I could always do is kind of park these up end to end instead. But I'm going to try and get that on camera. I hope you guys can see the difference here. So the Galaxy is made to this width right here for a very specific reason, which is because it can fit through a standard doorway. So it folds, it can fit through a normal doorway. It's built to that size for a very specific reason. And it's reasonably stable. When we ride it around the shop, I mean, I'll ride it around, the guys do, ride it around on two wheels, and it does that great. Obviously, most people buying a trike aren't going to want to do that. Now, if you go to the conductor, yeah, it's hard to tell on camera here, but it's substantially wider, and that's noticeable when you ride these two side by side. Excuse me. Don't worry, I'm okay. But if you ride the Oh Wow trike right next to that one, very obvious which one is more stable. So if I had to pick one of these on uneven ground or uneven terrain, I would definitely go with this one over that one. If it's flat on road, really doesn't make much of a difference. But I gotta admit, this one is wider and it's a little more stable, and you feel it. The other thing is that is kind of a cool selling point, and some of you may not know this about how the Galaxy works. Both of these are front wheel drive. So you've got the front wheel has the motor in it. For turning purposes, you don't want to have the two wheels locked together. Otherwise, you'd be skidding all over the place. Now there's an easy way to do that, which is done on the Galaxy. It helps to keep the cost where it is. You have one wheel that's a drive wheel when you're pedaling, and then the other wheel is just free spinning. It's not connected to anything. So if I were to actually tilt the Galaxy off to one side and pedal, you can see it spins this wheel. And then if I tilt it off the other side, but this wheel, it's not connected to anything. It just free spins in either direction. It's just on bearings. Whether I'm pedaling doesn't matter. And that makes it so the bike can properly turn. So that's the easy way to make that happen. This trike uses, I guess, what I would consider the hard way. It has a differential. So this actually drives both wheels, but has a differential so they're not locked together. So just like every car on the road today. So that's pretty interesting, that instead of having a single drive wheel, they've got wider axle with a differential, and that kind of helps basically with the handling is the idea there. So that's just a few of the differences between the two. But again, big ones are 750-watt motor, front suspension fork, wider rear axle, so it's a bit more stable, and a differential, so the handling is a little bit different. And then for these two, if there's a downside to it, turn it around to the side here, the Conductor trike has the second bar here, which makes for a nice strong frame, but the step through, as you can see, is not as low as the Galaxy trike is. The Galaxy's super low, really easy to get on and off. This one, you kind of have to be able to swing your knee up a little bit higher. And then, yeah, it's got a backrest on the seat. It's kind of funny, but it's got it. And then the handlebars are swept way back. The Galaxy trike is very upright, but not quite as much as the Conductor here. These swept back handlebars are just, you know, super, super close. So really interesting design and setup, but I kind of like it. And I think that you guys would like it too. So that's why I decided to show it off for one. Number two is they are looking for people that they could set up as dealers to bring these in and help them sell them. So if you guys want to see the Conductor trike at Area 13, let me know. In fact, I just got word today that they just had a container of these arrive to the port. So the lead time should be really short right now. So I think that there is going to be a demand for this, but you got to let me know. Should we carry it? Should we bring these in? You know, assuming everything else is good. Like I said, we've been riding it around a little bit. I've had it at the shop for a few weeks now. Let's see. Lewis says, I've ridden Lisa's Galaxy. Okay, cool. But yeah, I'm just gonna ride it around now, show you what it's like handling wise. And again, comparing it to the Galaxy only because that's the only trike we've ever sold. So doing a back-to-back test makes the most sense. So power-wise, let's crank this all the way up to 5. This is everything the Galaxy has got. Which, yes, it's only a 500-watt motor, but it's a torquey little thing, so when you put the throttle on it, it'll actually peel out, which is kind of funny. And it turns nice and sharp. And then if you turn too sharp, whew, there we go, 2 wheels, which, like I said, very stable and controllable, even just on 2 wheels, makes it kind of fun, you know, if you're in the circus, which we're not, although it may seem like that at times. But let's do the same thing on the Conductor and see how it compares. Dennis, can you mount a front basket on it? There's not a front basket for this one specifically. There's plenty of room up there. Aftermarket, you could totally fit one up on the handlebars, but there isn't one made for this specific model. I'm sure that's going to be a big request. and it's something that the Galaxy has that one doesn't. Unfortunately, that is something it doesn't come with. MoMA says, yes, carry it. Yeah, Thomas, living on the edge, 2 wheels. Normally we're on 2 wheels, so it just feels natural. All right, key is on. Let's turn the display on. All right, now let's give this one some throttle for some comparison. There you go, it peels out too. So even though it took a second longer for the power to kick in, but even though this is actually a bigger front wheel, so it's a 26-inch wheel. Remember I said how there's that problem with a 20-inch wheel? You can see if we put a 750-watt motor in the Galaxy, it just wouldn't work right. When you size the wheel up, though, it makes sense. So this one's still got plenty of power. And what you can see is when I turn real sharp like this, going nice and fast, the Galaxy right now would be on 2 wheels. And this, well, it isn't. It's staying on all 3 wheels, which I think is what most people would actually want to do, is stay on all 3 wheels. Let's head over to the hill right over here. Just give you guys an idea of power. Now here we are, like an off-camber hill. If I do a little circle in the road right here before this truck comes down. So this is like the worst situation for a trike right here. And it's fine. I don't feel like I'm lifting that rear wheel up. I naturally want to kind of lean into the turns a little bit, but I could probably lean away from it. Yeah, I feel like if I try to get it on 2 wheels, it's hard. So let's go up the hill. I'm not even going to pedal. There's 750 watts. Oh yeah. I haven't actually tested the top speed on this, to be honest. Definitely, I feel like it's going to go faster. That's the other thing with the Galaxy. I also felt like I wouldn't want to upgrade it to 750 watts. Then you start getting up like above 25 miles an hour. And I think that's too fast for that frame design and that width. But with this being wider, I feel like, yeah, you could go faster on this. And it feels fine. Let's do more of a high-speed turn. All right, gravel, right? Not flat. We haven't crashed yet. That's good. Oh, there we go. I got the wheel up. So it does handle on 2 wheels just fine as well. I had to try. I had to go full throttle, slight slope right here in the yard, and crank the wheel over to really get it up on 2 wheels. That's the big difference to me. I feel like the Galaxy, again, nothing wrong with the Galaxy. We've been selling a lot of them, and I like it. We run packages over to the UPS store with it. It gets used all the time as a little workhorse. Sometimes we even put a person in the back for filming. Makes really great camera shots up and down the road. We use it for all sorts of things, and it's a ton of fun. But if you want something with a little more oomph that you can feel safe going a little faster, or you want to go slower, just like the Galaxy, but you just want to feel a little more stable, then this will do it. It does feel a little bigger. The step over, like I said, is a bit higher. So they are both different trikes for different use cases, but I definitely see the appeal to this one. And based on the comments you guys are putting out, I think it would make sense for us to get some of these and make them available. So that's something I just got to finalize with Oh Wow. Having met the owner of that company in person, and he's really excited, really enthusiastic about electric bikes. You know, I think he wants to have a quality reputation. This is a Bafang 750 watt front hub motor. Just so you guys know what it is, it's got the proper big motor plug on it. It feels powerful. You know, I think this is done right. Probably the one thing I wish was a little bit bigger, and I think there's going to be some options for that, is the battery. It's a 48 volt, 13 amp hour. I know most people doing trike rides aren't going super far typically, but with this battery case, you know, in theory, it could go as big as like a 21. That's not an option right now, but I hope that one day it is. The bag that's on the back here, it's like this insulated little like ice chest type thing, comes with the trike. So that is pretty awesome. You can throw things in there. You don't have to worry about tying it down. He's got some other ideas, things in the works, go back here as well that I'm not going to get into yet. But first impressions are, you know, when I very first rode it, they were here in the snow. We actually rode it out in the parking lot in the snow a little bit. Felt pretty good then. And I think these could be a good seller. I think he might have a winner on his hands here. So totally different brand, not something specific from Area 13, but that's okay. We want you to have the best bike or trike for you, and sometimes that means we bring different brands on, and we work with them to make sure that we have all the bikes people want. Let's see. Moment, how big is the battery? So this is a 48 volt, 13 amp hour. Don't quote me on this, but I think he might have said there's an option for like a 17. And I have bugged him about, hey, moving forward sometime in the future, let's go even bigger, like a 21 or something if we can. Charles McGimsey, good to see you again. My wife would love one of those. Bring her on up. I know you're local. Have her come take it for a spin. And while you're at it, then you can ride the Falcon and the Hydra that I know you've been eyeballing. Can the backrest come off? That's a good question. I don't know. Let's find out. The saddle, the backrest is part of the saddle, so you could just replace the seat with something else if you wanted to. If you didn't want that, I'm gonna say yes. Looks like the backrest is a separate piece. You could probably pop that off if you wanted to. Looks like there's just 2 bolts underneath holding that on. So there you have it. That is the Conductor model. 20-inch tires in the back, 26-inch in the front, 750 watt motor, suspension, differential, wider, very stable, nice handling trike. When I first talked to him on the phone, he's like, oh, it handles really well. You can go really fast. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But after riding it, I think that's everything now makes sense. So, Jerry, how is it in sharp turns? I guess I was doing really fast turns right now, but I didn't try like a super sharp turn. I can hop back on and we can give that a shot. George, you're in Santa Rosa. How can we help you sell them? Hey, George, you're not too far away. You're a few hours away from us. I'd say come by, take them for a test ride, see if you like them. Like I said, I think a container of these just showed up. So there's probably quite a few of these available right now. Yeah, I know that the guys at Oh Wow would be happy to talk to people about selling more of these. But to answer your question, let's give it a shot. Let's try a nice sharp turn. So one of the funny things you can do on a trike, if there's enough room with these curved handlebars, you can almost do like a 90-degree turn. The limitation is the handlebars. How's that for a sharp turn, George? I don't think it gets any sharper than that. My left wheel is literally turning backwards. I would say that turns sharper than anything else we've got. The Galaxy can basically do the same thing. Hopefully that answers your question. He turns really sharp. There we go. Well, awesome. Robert is laughing at me. That's okay. You can laugh. It's funny. I'm having fun. Jimmy Crick, put your helmet on. I wasn't going very fast. These are not puncture resistant tires, but if you didn't see my video on Flat Out, I highly recommend checking that out. It's a liquid that goes in the tubes and it works better than anything else we have tested so far. Better than slime, better than Tannis armor, better than Mr. Tuffy liners. Flat Out is our #1 go-to right now, unless we find something better. So definitely check that out. You could put it in one of these. We could put it in one of these. Piece of cake. Um, yes, so definitely some crazy turns you can do with this. Brakes are not hydraulic. They are mechanical. You do have disc brakes, front and rear, on all 3 wheels. Personally, on both of these trikes, because you have 3 brakes, I've always felt like they stop really nice. Upgrading can be a little bit tricky with brakes like this because you have 1 lever going to 2 brakes. That complicates things a little bit. But if you didn't see yesterday's video, we have massive, massive rotors now, up to 246 millimeters. Those are too big for some bikes. They won't even physically fit in some frames, but we have upgrade options. So even if you don't or can't go hydraulic, we've got some options to upgrade your brake pads, the rotors. We can make sure your bike stops no matter what it is. I guarantee we have something that will stop. Dad's worries when we check out that the derailleur's going to drag in the grass. The derailleurs are low on both of these and kind of down in the middle of the frame. They're not really made to go like off-road in that way. It'd be kind of bumpy. I mean, you could. But yeah, if you're going through tall grass, there's no doubt about it, the derailleur is going to be down there. You might have to be picking some grass out of that, which would be true for any bicycle riding through grass like that. Robert, money. I assume he wants to know, how much is the conductor? Well, it's $2,700. So the Galaxy right now is actually $2,499, I think is what we've got it at. So $2,500. So you're only looking at a couple $100 more for the suspension fork, the bigger battery, wider bike with a differential. I think that is justified for the price. I think if one day there's an option for a bigger battery and it's right around $3,000, I think that's going to be awesome. I think they're going to still sell quite well. So there you have it. Like I said, that's the conductor from Oh Wow Cycles. Definitely looking into that. Please, please, if you want one, email us, let us know. That will help us to gauge the demand and bring some up here. They are in Southern California. We're in Northern California. Of course, we ship bikes all over the country, and that's something that we will probably be doing if we're selling them for Oh Wow as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching and being here. We're going to sign off for today. Make sure to snag one of those awesome deals we have going. Area 13 apparel is 10% off until the end of the month. We're trying to get that new name out there. And watch out for some new deals on other things next week. And I will see you guys again, hopefully, very, very soon.